Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Black Carnivore live stream. And we are back again to talk about, well, to pick up where we left off. So last week, thank you for those of you who were able to pop back in after, my computer had its little snafu. I'm glad you were able to come back. But for those of you who couldn't, I hope you caught up at the end of that. But you'll know that the hot dog was a hot topic. So, all things dogs, I love. And I went out for a walk with my dog earlier, and I wanted to match. So I put a little red in me and a little red in her. And she's freshly groomed, and we both looked good walking about town. So, hot dogs. And it was 95 degrees today, so it was hot. Yeah. Actually, yesterday it was a 97, and that's the hottest I've seen in a long while. So it was, and we had a brownout, so that was fun. Or maybe it was Tuesday, yeah. So anyway, we are going to pick up where we left off last week, talking about the hot dog. But before we do, how was your week, Arian? How did you do? What was Carnivore like for you this week?
This week in Carnivore, it's been great. A lot of chuck rows, a lot of really simple eating, just like reaching into the freezer and saying, "Oh, all right, I'll eat this," and thawing stuff out real easy, and then just straight into the like. I don't think I fried anything this whole time, so this has actually been a mostly or almost all beef week. I think I may have had shrimp one time, and I had eggs this morning, but that was the first time I had eggs in probably this whole week. So yeah, the simplicity of Carnivore has been great for this week.
Yeah, nice. I've been doing a lot of experimenting and playing around, so that was like kind of fun. So I'm going to show you guys. Well, I don't know how many people have been, managed to catch the video I posted today, but I've posted, an experiment that I did from somebody that I saw on Instagram, and his son came up with, or his child came up with, a tasty idea, and I was like, let me try that. So you guys let me know, if you liked it and what you thought. Yeah. So I'm going to show some pictures of that process.
Cool.
Yeah. So should we dive right in or what?
Oh, I thought you meant you were going to show them right now.
Oh, well, I am. Well, I can. There's no sound, I think.
So, what was the great idea?
That. Can you all see that? Oh, I should make this bigger.
Oh, these things, yes. I think Portia showed this to me, and it looked really good. So this is what you made. This isn't
Yeah. This is what I made.
hot dog wrapped in bacon, wrapped in ground beef.
Yeah. So I made it again. So that I made in the oven, and I really wasn't sure about timing or whatnot. And the ground beef I used was 93.7. I just, that's what I had. I think that was too dry, and it was more. I don't know. It wasn't. I would have liked it differently. So I got some regular ground beef today, and then I encased the whole hot dog in ground beef. So I didn't do it taco style. I just I did it like a Scotch bonnet, or whatever. So the hot dog was completely encased in the hamburger, and then I put it in the air fryer for 15 minutes. That was perfect. Oh, and I do have a picture of that. I will, the inside of that, what I cooked. Let me see if I can get it onto the computer.
You know what? I just bought sausages. I don't know if I have bacon, but I definitely have ground bison already thawed. I should try it.
You should
Do
definitely
you
try
think
it.
it? Do you think it requires the bacon?
Mm-mm. And in fact, I think that I don't really care for the bacon.
Mm.
You know, I only like bacon when it's crispy, and when it's not going to get
Oh.
crispy inside. So I even contemplated wrapping the exterior with bacon. What? You know,
I don't know why that sounds so much funnier to me.
you know, yeah. You know, you just gotta you gotta try things, experiment, figure it out.
Hmm.
So I don't know what you guys think. Hit the like button, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so you can get notification every time I go live. And let me, yeah, here we go. And let me get this picture up here so you guys can see. But yeah, and so I mean, I think it would work with sausage. You would have to cook it a lot longer, and I'm not sure how that would go for the hamburger meat on the outside. But using 80/20 hamburger meat was a way better idea for me. It wouldn't have turned out as well if I, using other stuff. But I also tried it with ground lamb, and that was pretty tasty as well. But still, the best was with ground beef.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the bison I have is 90/10, but
Yeah, I
I
think that
actually
is probably not going to work as
will
well.
not work in what way?
I think it'll be very dense and dry.
Hmm.
So, can you see this?
Hmm. Why can't?
Okay, everybody, can you click in the or write in the comment box if you can see it. But you can see the hot dog, the bacon, and then the burger. So you can see the burger is pretty dense here. It's definitely pretty thick.
That looks
So I think,
fine to me. Hmm.
well, this was the 80/20. I think if you use the bison, it'll be pretty dry.
Maybe I can cook the hot dog first so that I don't have to cook the bison as much.
Well, I mean, the hot dog doesn't need cooking. It's just needs to get warm. But it's really the inner part of the bison that you're trying to get warm or hot. I did use
Hmm.
a temperature, a thermometer to actually measure the temperature. So after 10 minutes, it was click the wrong thing. It was like 160 degrees, and I wanted to go a little hotter.
Oh, you wanted your ground meat that hot?
Well, the bacon,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I'm always a little iffy with bacon. I do not like undercooked bacon.
Right. And
Yeah.
see, yeah, I eat bacon that a lot of people call undercooked all the time. So
Uh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
give that a try. I'll
Yeah.
probably fudge the recipe some, but I think I'm gonna try that tonight.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be fudged, but it definitely is a meal. Like one is enough. But
It looks like it.
yeah. But I felt like I wanted more hot dog. It was more hamburger than hot dog. So you want to
Hmm.
make sure that you season the beef enough because it's mostly beef. It feels like mostly
Yeah.
beef.
And
Yeah.
see, that's not what I want. I wonder if I can do it where instead of covering the whole hot dog in the beef, I can just make a ring of beef in the center of the hot dog, like enough that I can pick it up.
A
Maybe
ring
like,
of beef in the center of the hot dog.
well, on the center of the hot dog. So like
Oh yeah, yeah. You could
the
like pigs in a blanket. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I thought about that too. Yeah, I think there are all kinds of variations, and sure, yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, okay. Hey, so let's see who's here. We got a lot of people here. Hey, Portia, welcome. Danielle, it's good to see you. Jocelyn, hey. Miss Tay awesome. On the Cosby Show, Cliff and Theo always talked about the bacon burger dog. And that's what this reminds me of. Yeah,
It sounds exactly like that.
I called this a bacon burger dog. And funny you should mention the Cosby Show today, since everybody's talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not get into that.
Yeah, let's move along. Hey, melanated meat fueled mama and V empath. Hey, good to see you. All right, good. I'm glad you can see it. Let's see. And Audra. Hey, Audra, it's good to see you. Yes, just needs a sauce. So, well, that might be a point. When I have not been using a sauce, but that could be. So the other thing to do is, and what I have done with bacon before, because I said I don't like it, wet and floppy, is to cook it first and then add it to the things that I'm gonna, add it to. So that's something I could do: cook it first and then put it in the hot dog. And then collect the grease and make the baconaise. So I'm more committed than ever now to try making it again. So I can make some sauce.
Sounds good. I will probably douse mine in mustard.
Mustard, that's an option. Yeah. Oh, and melanated meat fueled mama is making these like corn dogs this weekend with a stick. So that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And Audra says sometimes mixed meat dishes sound better on paper and don't always work for you, like turducken.
I've never had that. I'm glad I haven't. It sounds awful. It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, Angela G, welcome. This is your first time here. I'm so excited to have you. Welcome. And Large Picture. Yeah, and Large Picture. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Okay. So, oh man. And I was supposed to try the Carnivore bar.
Something I knew there was something I forgot today. I was at the grocery store and I meant to look for Carnivore bars because I wanted
They're
to try
not
them
in
too.
grocery stores, are they?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think they're in grocery stores, and I think that they were doing, they were raising money for like, another batch, and so I don't think they're on sale anywhere.
Oh.
But let me go get mine right now, and I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna try it. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, wait. I think you should grab it, but we should save that until we're done talking about sausages and hot dogs.
Yes, absolutely. All right, but you can take a moment to talk about sausages and hot dogs.
Right. So
While I grab
I just bought a bunch today. I have like 3-4 pounds of sausage now in my fridge. It seems I thought me and A were gonna fight over these because they're like processed food, and there's definitely different levels. There's different quality levels, especially with hot dogs. I feel like sausages a little less so, but you can still get a lot of junk in sausage that doesn't need to be there. So I always look at the label. I make sure that I'm getting something that is really light on the list of ingredients. You shouldn't need many things. It's basically like you're going to have preservatives a lot of times. That's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. And unless you're buying from like a local farm or something. But I want it to be mostly just meat and spices. And those are the ones I look for. And I do, at least if I'm being lazy, I'll at least check the nutrition label and make sure that the carb count is lower than like 2 grams, 3 grams a link. They're still sneaking sugar in there, and that's annoying. But
Yeah. So what brands would you recommend? What are the kinds that you've used?
the only actual brand I remember is this Johnny Pollock kind. I don't even know if those are available anywhere outside of like Maryland, because they're apparently a Baltimore tradition. At least that's what the thing says.
That's what the label says.
Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't shopped anywhere else, but yeah, those are my favorites so far. Those and these half smokes that I get from ShopRite. I don't remember a brand name on those, and I looked for them today and couldn't find them.
Oh, really? I feel like, because of social media and TV and movies and stuff, there's no local culture anymore. No matter where you go in the world, you're going to hear the same music, the same pop culture music and the same stuff. And so it's always a delight to hear, like, there's a Baltimore thing. There's something that you really only find in New York, and it's kind of a delight.
Yeah, I enjoy that kind of stuff. I like going to a place and doing its things instead of doing the same stuff there that I do everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I want that local food. I want the local brand. Um, to see how the stuff tastes.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as hot dogs, I lately I've just given up because I can't find hot dogs that are all beef and not full of crap.
Right. I found hot dogs that were uncured, nitrate free, and only had like celery, paprika, and that was it. So, and they were beef, 100% beef. So, that's what I got, but they didn't taste as good as the ones that I had gotten from Bel Campo. So, I think that, I'm going to make it my business to get those. And
Okay.
probably not others.
I mean, that sounds like the only way to go. Like, I don't know what else you even. It's rough. Like, there's a store called Lidl, Lidl, and one of them just opened in my area, so I can go there and I can get all beef hot dogs, and the ingredients list is mostly fine. But that's like me passing like 15 different grocery stores, driving 20 minutes away to buy one thing.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
buy
it's not
20 of
worth
them.
it. Right. So that would be the move, and I do have the freezer space that I could do that.
Yeah.
Like
Excellent.
today, shrimp are on sale, so I bought 8 pounds of shrimp.
Ah. But that's okay,
Right.
I think that's okay.
And the cashier was looking at me like, "What is he gonna do with all that shrimp?" I said, "I'm gonna freeze most of it."
Yeah.
It's not that I'm having some shrimp party like tonight or something.
Yeah. I definitely have people, who think I'm like hosting a barbecue, and they're like, "Can I come?"
Right.
What time is it?
Like just about every time I'm at the store, something like that happens. There's either a,
Yeah.
"What you gonna do with all that meat?" or "You must be
Yeah.
having a party."
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. I think that sausage and hot dogs are not ideal, but they're okay. So, you check the ingredients list. There's some that I really like the taste of, and then I look and it's like, oh, it's like 4 grams of carbs per sausage. So it's
Hmm.
like, oh, that's why. Okay. But yeah, but if you're careful, it can be okay. So, what's next on the list?
So next on the list, and AA is prepared for it, is so I'm putting them in the same category, although they now that I've looked at them, they're very different things. But the carnivore snacks, or like meal replacement bars. So what I wrote down is Epic bars and carnivore bars.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably other ones though that I don't know about.
Okay, well, um, I don't know about them. Now, someone asked me today, like, whether they could use, like, carnivore crisps as a meal replacement. And, and as a carnivore bar meal replacement. And I said that, yes, I think the carnivore crisps are a meal replacement. And there's nothing in them but, dried beef, or whatever
Hmm.
the meat is. So you might need 2 or 3 bags to get to the amount that you would normally eat. But I think that jerky is fine as a meal replacement. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I agree. I don't see any reason why not to. And jerky is actually the next thing on the list. The only thing that would stop me from doing it with bought jerky would be just that it's too expensive.
Oh
Um,
wow. Lorraine says Epic bars have 48 carbs each. Wow.
really? Is it?
That
That
is a
can't be.
lot.
If that's all of them, um, I feel
Yeah,
like checking
that's
that
not
because
good.
I remember looking at Epic Bars and them saying they have this like keto friendly line, and where's the venison one? That was the one I had. It was like venison and salt, or venison and salt.
Why would they add carbs to venison? See, I guess it's pemmican and they're making it.
Right. Okay. So the venison sea salt pepper one is 1 gram of carb, 1 gram of carbohydrates for in one bar, and that's probably I bet that's from the spices that they're adding. There's celery powder, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper. Maybe between the four of those, you end up with a gram of carbs.
Okay. Well, so the carnivore bar has new variations now. So both bars are prototypes and not yet in their custom wrappers. They're marked with high pro. They mark the high protein with honey with a sticker, and the other bar is the high protein variation. So the original
Mm.
carnivore bar is 50-50 protein to fat. Both new variations are 75-25 protein to fat. And the honey bar has 3 grams of carbs. And yeah, so that damn honey just cannot get away from it.
People
Um,
need everything to be sweet.
yeah, you know, yeah. Let's see. Audra says she's going to be planning on grilling brats, chicken thighs for the 4th. I think that is an excellent plan, and I would like to come over.
That sounds
Um,
good.
yeah, yeah. Um, oh, and Porsche clarifies it's 4 to 8 grams of carbs, not 48 grams of carbs, because that's a significant
40,
difference.
48 is just like the bar is sugar.
Yeah. So this has got the little B sticker on it, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. And I'm gonna open the other one. So here you go.
All right, carnivore bar. And you did say these are basically pemmican, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, you saw it's 50-50 beef and fat. So
Yeah.
it broke in half, but you can see, I don't know, can you see that?
Hmm.
So it's kind of ground up. It has sort of a fatty texture.
This is what y'all wanted. Live eating. Where's Johnny G? This face.
Well, it's got an interesting texture. It's kind of crunchy. I was sort of expecting a peanut butter texture.
It looks like it would be like that.
It needs it's weird, but the salty taste of it doesn't appear until later in the chew.
Mm. Hmm.
So I don't know if the salt is just sort of in the center. Johnny G says mukbang looks dry. Johnny G, you are right. So that's in case of emergency. I definitely recommend you keep some in your glove compartment. That's about
Yeah,
it.
doesn't seem like a bad idea. I mean, So I was explaining and talking about this, and this is what made me think like, oh, I need to go try carnivore bars. Just thinking that they would be way more widely available. Was I was explaining pemmican to a new carnivore, and they're like, "So what is this?" I'm like, "All right, so you dry meat, you basically make jerky, and you make it as dry as you possibly can, and then you grind it up until it's powder, and then you add in fat to that at a 1-to-1 ratio to the amount of meat powder that you have, and then you let it dry." And she's like, "That sounds disgusting. Why would you do that? Like, you basically remade meat." And I go, "Well, but it doesn't have the water in it, so it's not gonna go bad forever." But basically, yeah, it's everything that was in meat already back in meat.
Yeah. Portia asked, I missed it. What is she eating? I'm eating the carnivore bar. So, this. It is a meal replacement bar. I guess it's basically pemmican. And I didn't really enjoy it too much, but yeah. So, Melanated Meat Fueled Mama says, never have an emergency. Agreed. Try not to have an emergency. But frankly, I think having some carnivore crisps on hand would do you just as well.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's actually a good reason to have to just like buy a big variety pack of the carnivore crisps, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, a big pack of the ones that you like, just to have them. Same with
Mm-hmm.
jerky. Same with a lot of these things.
Or,
They're not.
make your own jerky too. I mean,
Yeah.
I made some this week, and that was delightful too. I was just like, I feel like some chuck roast, because I I had this image in my head one day when you picked up a piece of your goat jerky, and it was like 3/4 fat and 1/4 meat, and I was like, oh man, I really
And
want some of that.
and meanwhile, those pieces are like, if I eat them, I have to eat a really lean piece after. It's like too much fat for me. Like I have
Mm,
goat now that I'm thinking of what I'm gonna do with it, because I don't want to end up with a big pile of dry fat that I'm not gonna eat.
yeah. I don't know where you're getting your goats. Like, I don't know. To me, I always think of goats as being like really lean and, you know, not, I don't know, just like
Well,
nothing in there. So I don't know how they're so fatty for you.
are you getting goat from a? Oh, you're talking about like when you look at a goat, it looks lean.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be fatty. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. Because yeah, they don't look that way, but they
Yeah.
at
And
least
I
the
think
goat
of those
here.
ibexes that you sent me that video of that was so upsetting. Like, they were like prancing up a wall. Like, you can't be fat
Up
and
it.
doing that.
No, no,
You
but
got to be
somehow
really
they got fat
nimble.
somewhere.
Yeah,
They got fat somewhere, definitely.
yeah.
Um, oh, and you know what? They brought up another thing. I mean, this really doesn't fit. So we're talking meals here. Um,
Are you talking
for
about
that
melanated meat
reason,
fueled mama's question?
um, well, that and Portia mentioning pork rinds. So
Oh, gotcha.
I think those work in a very short term. I just need something on my stomach, but that I don't think either of those could be a meal. And I don't know what wisps are. I've never had them. But if we're talking crackers, it doesn't sound carnivore to begin with.
Well, they're the crackers that are made of Parmesan cheese. They're cooked in so they're like crispy and they're in little round things.
Oh,
Yeah. But the
those
amount that
things, they look like
crackers.
almost like waffle fries.
Sure.
Like they aren't they don't
Yeah.
they have that like lattice
Yeah, because it's usually made of like shredded cheese, so the shredded
hmm.
looking part. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
But I mean, imagine how you would feel after eating 8 ounces of cheese. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know about you. I have certainly eaten 8 ounces of cheese and fully regretted it. But so if you did that with whiffs, I mean, you would have the same result. So
Right.
yeah.
So that's the issue that I have with those. It's just that's a lot of cheese. You're right, and I would want meat with that. I think that could go well with some of the other things that we've named, especially if you're talking like deli meat, or if you want to wrap one of those around a sausage and eat it, or a hot dog. Sounds great.
Oh, it's
But
delightful in liver pate
mm,
or
okay.
tuna salad.
Mm,
Hmm.
I haven't had tuna in wrap.
Yeah. Um, so I would say no to wisps, or not as a like a full meal. Um, let's see. Portia asked if carnivore crisps are expensive. Yes, yes. So you might need to make your own. I don't know. Um, Johnny G says he wants to see the chuck roast. Long gone, so long gone. And Audra says my other fast food tip is sashimi or carpaccio or tartare. Um, yeah. So that is something. I mean, not likely made at home, but if you're out,
Right.
that is. I would, of course, choose your restaurant well from which you get the sashimi. There's a local supermarket and a Dwayne Reed that sells it, and I'm kind of like, supermarket, maybe. Dwayne Reed, I don't know. I don't know. But they're always sold out. I always see people buying them, so I don't know. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
And I've had carpaccio. I think that's good. But, again, you've just got to get it from reputable sources. And yeah, so pork rinds by themselves don't make a good a full protein. Because remember, the thing is with some of this stuff, especially when you're talking about skin, it's it's got so much collagen that it's not like a full protein. So you don't want to use that as your full meal. But pork rinds dipped into some kind of cheese dip into liver pate, is that would be fine, I think. Very
Right.
filling.
Yeah.
Melanated
So
meat fuel. Go ahead.
I think there's ways to do it, but like generally, if you're just like I just gotta grab something and eat it right now, um, and you're not going to be able to eat for a while after, pork rinds are not the move. And I would also kind of feel like cheese is not the move either. You need something more fulfilling than either of those.
Yeah. Melanated meat fuel mama says just avoid snack type food. So I would agree, except that I think snack type food is okay as long as it's part of a meal. When we say no snacking, that means don't eat between meals, but you can make a meal of snack type foods. So carnivore crisps are they're packaged and talked about as snack type foods, but jerky that's not full of sugar is like fully food. I mean, it is food.
Right.
So I would be fine with having that as your meal replacement. It's just that brand is expensive. But when you make your own, that is food. But for me, I have to remember to drink a lot of water because without the water, you're losing a lot of the bulk. And so, I can eat like a pound of, jerky or a pound's worth of jerky without even quite realizing it. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
why do I feel so full later?
And see, and I'll eat a lot, and my body will tell me very quickly with jerky, like, all right, that's enough, we're done, and I
Hmm.
am going to get thirsty,
Yeah.
a little ways after that.
Yeah. And Mandel asks, does liver pate give you the same benefits of eating liver as any other type of liver? Yeah. I mean, if you're making it yourself and it's, liver, a few spices and salt and fat, yes, it's the same benefit. If you're buying it out, there may be other things in it, but, it's still liver. Yeah. And then Mendel asks what's wrong with pork skins or chicken crisps. Dr. Berg recommends them as a collagen supplement. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. They're just, they're very heavy in collagen, and collagen is not a complete protein. So if you try to get all your protein from a source that's very high in collagen, you're not going to get the full spectrum of amino acids that are required. That's all.
Right. So it's basically there's nothing wrong with them, but they do not replace meals.
Hmm. Unless you do, it's like, the vegetarian where you combine your proteins, so pork rinds and liver pate, then you have a complete protein instead of beans and rice.
Right. You sounded like a commercial just then.
I saw a lot of those commercials when I was young about how to do the vegetarian diet properly and make sure
Really?
that you have full protein. So in the 70s and 80s, when, this stuff all began, I don't know, I felt like, maybe I just hung out in the weird circles, but I felt like there were a lot of, like, these kinds of, videos or radio programs where people talk like that, and they, sort of explained how to do a vegetarian diet properly. And then, I don't know, somehow, like the information kind of went haywire, and then people just had a very different idea about how to do a vegetarian diet. But I think, I feel like we got good information and early on. But some things were left out. Like, I learned that in South America or Central America, they don't, no, maybe it was Mexico, they don't eat corn the way we do. Like, there's a second step after you harvest it to essentially try to pull out the phytates and the other anti-nutrients in it. And so they do that, and then they use it to make the tortillas and all that other stuff. But we don't. So when you eat a corn tortilla in a restaurant here, or, you buy it at the grocery store here, it, a lot of people have all of these responses to it. But when you go to Mexico and eat it there, they've done that process, and it often doesn't have the same, impact on people. Which, I think is interesting. I know back in the 70s, like, there was a whole thing about fermenting and like, not eating nuts straight, but we had to soak them and then roast them again, and that process actually pulls out some of the anti-nutrients, and also letting them sprout also does that. So, I don't know. It seems like there were other methods that were done in indigenous societies, long ago, that were forgotten, that were meant to kind of deal with some of the anti-nutrients in the food. But, if you eat, like, handfuls of almonds, it's hard to keep up if you're also soaking them and, and then, like, roasting them and drying them out and all of that kind of stuff. Because I used to do that process, and then I would just eat them while they're soaking, and then, just no point in continuing. So.
It sounds like a whole lot of work when you could just have a steak.
Yes, it's definitely more work. Yeah.
Right.
So,
But yeah, that's actually the most cultures, at least when you reach back far enough, you're going to find that the way they ate grains is there was a good amount of work involved before you actually went to eating the thing that came from the grain. You didn't just, like the way we do now, we just grind it up, add some water, and say, there's flour, make something of it. They were, soaking and fermenting were huge.
Yeah. Okay, Mommy Does Keto is here. Welcome. And Audra says, I keep shabu cut lamb or ribeye in the freezer and lots of homemade stock in the fridge. Hot stock cooks meat quickly from frozen and makes a great meal. I would imagine. I'm not sure what shabu is. Never heard of that before.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah. And then Kimberly says, Comp Sticks or F-Bomb Keto Meat Sticks brands along with Carnivore Crisps would be my go-to. F-Bomb Keto Meat Sticks.
I don't know what either of these things are.
I don't know what that is. Please, Kimberly, can you tell us more? And what are comp sticks? I feel like I'm so ignorant of what is in the supermarket because I don't have TV, so I don't get commercials. I pay on YouTube so that I don't have to watch commercials. I don't really watch Hulu or anything anymore, and I don't walk around the grocery store. I just go to the meat aisle and then, leave.
Yep.
So I have no idea when there's new products out unless somebody's talking about it on Facebook or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't go to stores that have like keto sections.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the keto stuff, the stuff labeled keto, I've never seen, or I've only seen it online.
Yeah. Yeah. Mandel says, I'm sure there's a way to eat vegetarian healthy, but most vegan societies feed the vegetables to microbes first, and they eat microbe meat. Kimchi ain't just steamed cabbage. Yeah, well, fermented. Yes, just as you said, lots of indigenous societies have different ways to deal with the anti-nutrients, and fermenting is one way that some people deal with it. So kimchi is an example of that, for sure. I think that there's a way for some portion of the population to eat a vegetarian diet and be healthy, but at this point, there's so much of the population that is unhealthy that it's hard to imagine, how to do that. Like the people who do well on vegetarian should keep doing it, but those who are struggling, those are the ones that we're talking to. So, yeah. And actually, this brings up next week we are going to talk about veganism in the Black community. So I think we both need to do some research in preparation for next week. And on Tuesday, I did an interview with Haviland, who's part of the Facebook community, and she is a former vegan, and she had been vegan for 12 years and really put herself in a bad position, health-wise. And so she, has switched over the last couple of months to being carnivore. So I did an interview with her, and, it was really fascinating. So I'm going to air that on Tuesday, and then, we'll also be able to reference that, and I encourage everybody to, make sure that you watch that. And so I'm going to go back to live streaming, premiering a pre-recorded podcast interview on Tuesday evenings at, I used to do it at 7 o'clock, I think, right? Yeah. So,
sounds right.
So I'm going to do that at 7 o'clock. And, and then I'll have a clubhouse room right after at like 8:15. That's going to be the normal plan. So yeah, and we can talk more about that. I'm excited to do it. Let's see. Audra says, nixtamalization of corn, soaked in alkaline solution, washed and hulled. I agree. Tons of work when we can eat meat. Yeah. So thank you. I would never have remembered that word. So thank you, Audra, for looking that up. Yeah. And, and I think it's interesting, like our society has changed so much, especially in the last 10 years, where people are really relying on pre-prepared food because, you have both parents working, people are working long hours, and it's not really possible for people to spend the type of time that they used to preparing food. So, that's just kind of how it goes. And I think, I don't know. To me, there's a certain level of sexism here. The fact that women are working means that we cannot be also, totally in charge of making all the meals and making sure that they are from scratch and from, beautifully arrayed vegetables and fruits and all of that. I think, there's just a lot of pressure on, women to be able to do that. And so, I don't know. I really am an advocate for figuring out ways to have, healthier pre-prepared foods that you can go to. And meat is kind of the best way to do that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's already the best nutrition, and then you can do that in the like you can just take a cheap roast, put it in the crock pot, and when you get off work, it's done.
Yeah. I used to like to set up my crock pot at night before bed, and then in the morning it's like I have a lovely meal to have.
Yep,
This is
that's what I
great.
used to do.
Yeah. And Kimberly says chomps are sold at Trader Joe's or Amazon for bulk amounts. Yep, the restaurant Amazon as well. Not cheap, but some cheaper than others. But what is chomps? Or what was the other thing? Like the shabu shabu on a stick.
She explains that down below. But the
Oh,
chomps thing,
Audra.
they're apparently some sort of meat product that is probably okay to eat.
Oh. So it's dipped in hot stock to cook, like hot pot. H Mart sells all types of shabu shabu cut meats, individually rolled. What country are you in? I don't feel like I've ever heard of this before. But that sounds
So
awesome.
I have found out very recently that H Mart is a Korean grocery store that apparently exists here in America. Um,
Okay.
I I know Philly has them. I don't know if other places do, but that's what that.
Okay. Jocelyn, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it, and thank you. I love that you think I'm amazing. Thank you. Um, this is, but the shabu shabu idea is a good reason to buy like a deli meat slicer because there's a lot you could do if you can slice your meat really thin.
Yeah, yeah. If I just if I can find a small one, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Johnny G asked, deli meats as a snack been talked about? Sorry, I missed a few videos. Yeah, we talked about deli meats last week. I'm a little bit more supportive of them, but you got to read the labels.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Mandel says vegetarian in the Bible is the way Daniel got fat. I did vegetarian for a week and gained 20 pounds. That was decades ago. Never figured out healthy vegetarian. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And it was known for a long time that carbs were how you fatten up any animal, including humans.
Okay. Um, all right, let's see. Miss M says I've done the whole from scratch meals every night. Lots of work. Steak and bacon is so much easier. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what's on the list besides Carnivore Bar? Or do you all want to see me take another bite of it?
I mean, it was just those and Epic. Those are the only ones I know of. Apparently, these I can't vouch for them, but the Chomps bars and the other thing Kimberly named, the F Bomb Keto Meat Stick, um, those might be good. I don't know. I can't say. I've only had Epic. There seems to be a little bit of a debate about the number of carbs in Epic, so you really gotta watch that label and get the simplest. My guess is if you get the simplest Epic bar, um, the one that looks like it's just meat that like there's some that say it's just beef and salt and pepper or venison salt and pepper. Those are going to be the lowest carbs. But I guess because all the spices that they throw in there, those things are not zero carb.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can say that with at least with the Epic bar, I had a venison sea salt and pepper one, and
Mm-hmm.
I was satisfied off of eating one of those. And it's a small thing. It doesn't look like it's going to fill you up, but it's dense. I was good off of one of those for at least like 2, 3 hours.
Okay. Good. Um, Johnny G says I'm running out to buy a meat slicer. And A. Hazuda says New York City has H Mart. Okay. So one is, she's saying one is in 32nd Street, which I think is Koreatown in Manhattan, and then the other in Harlem. So I will have to, yeah, I'll have to check it out. Um, okay. So what else is on your list, though, besides, I mean,
Oh,
next, after bars?
okay. So yeah, next up was jerky, and we kind of started to talk about that with the carnivore crisps
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
those are jerky. But I think the best option for jerky, and I'm pretty sure AD is going to agree, is making your own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so much cheaper. It's really easy to do. You don't need to have a special dehydrator. You don't even need to have an air fryer. You could literally just do them in the oven.
Well,
Like I
how do
have
you
an air
do it?
fryer now that can do it. So now I have an air fryer
No,
that,
how did you do it in the oven though?
oh, you just put it on, you get a big like baking sheet, like for cookies or something, and um, they call them drying racks a lot of times, but you just need to make sure that they're cool to get to a temperature like 200 or so, which most of them are. So they're these wire racks that sit on top of the baking sheet that
Mm-hmm.
you put the meat on those, like you thin slice your meat like normal jerky. You put it on the drying sheet and or the drying racks, that's what they're called. And that allows your meat to cook on both sides at the same time. Like the hot air that's drying out the meat is hitting it from the top and the bottom. And
So,
I'll
and 200
put that.
degrees is the right temperature?
I'll go a little lower than that. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how low exactly because I never like put the thermometer in there and actually check. But
Uh-huh.
it would be I would go to 200 and then knock it down just a tip. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how much difference that was making, but I know what temperature I'm actually going for is like 175, 180.
Okay.
But I don't know if I ever hit that. And I'd cook those for about the same that you would do in your air fryer, like 4 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I kind of go, depending on how thin I'm able to cut the slices, that determines how long I go. And I start checking at 4 hours. And so the thinner pieces are done by then, and the bigger pieces like keep going. And I
Mhm.
just start eating at 4.
Right. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. At 4, you probably have been smelling this meat for the last like 3 hours. It's hard to keep waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so Mandel says I feed my kid frozen meat patties and steam in bag vegetables. That's what he wants every day. Boiled eggs. He ate the yolk and wasted the white. Smart kid. For years
Right.
he was keto before I knew what keto was. Yeah. So listen to the kids. And it was a
Yeah.
kid who came up with my hot dog recipe, so yeah. Yeah. So Pat Jacobs says, I've been making jerky for 2 weeks, cook for 3 to 4 hours at 180 degrees. Okay. Yeah.
That's
So
been my
my
experience.
dehydrator is set to cook at 150 degrees. Yeah. And so it recommends like at least 6 hours, if not longer, for meat. But like I said, I just go until it looks okay inside. Usually when I like snap it open, I mean, if I snap and it snaps, then I've gone too far. But if it bends and it's not particularly pink inside, then I feel like I'm okay. But I don't know.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of, the fibers of meat will flake away from each other a bit.
Uh,
Like I wanted to do that, but yeah, I don't want it to snap. I don't want it hard. I've cooked jerky as long as some people recommend to cook jerky, and that stuff, it's edible and it'll get the job done. And I bet you that's the jerky that's like super dry and lasts years and years. I don't need my jerky to last that long.
well, that's the jerky that you would eat at. I mean, that you would make into the pemmican, like when it's super dry like that, and then you powder it. Um,
Well, yeah, but I've seen people even recommend with regular jerky, not for pemmican, that you cook it for longer and you want it
right.
to be real lean. And that's the other thing. I don't use lean meat. So
Yeah.
it's going to bend some. It's not
Yeah.
gonna it's not gonna be the way that they talk about it because I don't think they make really appetizing jerky.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess all of those jerky recipes were made with the idea that you're making the jerky for, end of days type scenarios where this stuff has to last. But I don't know. I mean, and then I wonder, why am I making it like this? Like, it takes longer, it's a little bit more work, and But I don't know. I kind of like the taste of it. Like I like jerky. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I can. And in fact, Jocelyn asked what type of beefs, and Johnny G said it's chuck steak the best. I like chuck roast. I think
Hmm.
chuck roast has a pretty
It's
perfect amount
perfect amount
of
of fat.
fat versus lean
Yeah.
to where it will be flavorful and good the whole way through. Um, so that's what I make mine out of.
Hmm.
You can go lean if you want to. You could go fattier, I guess, but at that point, for a lot of people, that's a waste of the meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want, like, if you're gonna take a rib roast or a strip roast or something and make jerky out of it, it's definitely
I
doable.
have I've made it out of ribeye, and I
I
still
haven't done
prefer
with
chuck roast.
really.
Yeah. I like the way
Hmm,
chuck roast tastes. I mean, I think it is delicious.
I get
And
that.
I kind of think about doing a brisket that way as well.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Brisket will probably be good.
Because
Um,
carnivore crisps, my favorite flavor is the brisket. Far better than the ribeyes. If you're going to purchase this stuff, get the brisket first. It's
you
way
know
better.
what? I had skirt steak. I think I told you about this. I had skirt steak like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that might be good.
It, I mean, it's lean like everybody wants it to be, or it's lean-ish, but it feels like there's fat in the meat, just not a ton of it.
Hmm.
Um, and it tasted so good. This was one of the best tasting steaks that I've had. It just had a natural flavor to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how, I mean, I guess people who who aren't carnivore won't notice it, but once you go carnivore, like different parts of the cow literally taste different. They just
Yeah.
are not the same. And some are really flavorful and others are not. And I got to tell you, London broil tastes buttery to me. I don't know
Mm,
why. So the texture is work, but the flavor is good.
mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So that might be another reason why London broil would be good for jerky. If your jerky's gonna have this natural buttery flavor.
Well, I don't know what happens when it gets dry. I'm a little afraid to try it that way, but I should try it.
Maybe just do a couple slices off the next one that you buy.
Yeah. Now, Audra says, seriously not a fan of jerky. It's dry and chewy. I've tried all types. I prefer rare beef. I'm tempted to make my own. That way I won't have to make it super dry. Now, I think the
Yes.
interesting thing about jerky is that it's technically not cooked. It's raw.
Hmm.
So it's sort of an interesting way, like for people who want to try raw carnivore, it's kind of an interesting way to do it, yet safely, so that you don't have to worry about bacteria in your meat. But Audra, from what you heard us say, I think that you would be able to make it on your own in a way that it's not dry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's one reason. So for me, if I buy it at the store, it's never dry. It's the chewiness that's weird to me. It's like I don't know what they added to this to make the meat
Sugar,
have this texture.
sugar.
Hmm. The sugar changes the texture like that.
Yes, yes. That's why a lot of times people will say that you have to add sugar when you're making jerky, because that's what makes it softer.
Ugh,
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, and then I've had jerky that is no sugar. Like there are a few companies that make it with no sugar, and it's kind of like sawdust, but it'll get the job done. And
Hmm,
Kimberly
okay.
says I've never had good liver jerky. It's just wrong. Regular cooked liver or pate is much better. And I'm gonna say my dog and all the other dogs in the park would absolutely disagree with you, and that liver pate, I mean liver jerky, is just fine.
To
Um,
die for.
yeah, yeah. I did have a dog come up and bite my pocket and thigh, not even trying to get into my pocket, just take the whole pocket, the cloth, the pants, everything with it. Yeah. So I would say some would disagree with you. I don't really like
Hmm.
it. I've tried eating it. It's not for me, but
Yeah. Liver jerky doesn't sound good to me. Um, excuse me, but I have made heart jerky, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah. I did not care for it, but it was a hit amongst the dogs and some of my friends. Human friends. I have human friends. So, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
They taste test the jerky.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Johnny G asked about bacon jerky. I have had bacon jerky. It was as good as regular bacon. I didn't really see a difference, like the way it tasted or the texture, from just cooking bacon. So I'm not sure
Right.
why you would put the work in. But
Yeah, I've done it before with pork bacon, and it didn't. It just tasted like bacon that was uniformly crispy, um, which was decent, but like it doesn't hold its shape. Like it was
hmm
shattering the whole way through as I tried to pick it up. Um, I'd rather just cook bacon the regular way. Now, beef
hmm
bacon might be different.
hmm yeah.
That might be worth a try.
And Johnny G asks, is jerky fat sweet? Fatty pork would be nice jerky. I've never even thought about making pork into jerky, but I guess I mean, of course you can.
Right. I had the thought today because I bought a bunch of spare ribs, and I thought I don't buy pork enough. And it's because I half the time don't feel like eating it. But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't.
Yeah. What would
And pork's
be a
cheaper than
good
beef.
thing? What would be a good piece of pork to jerky for
Hmm.
this purpose? Now, I'm going to make
So,
an admission. I bought salt pork at the grocery store, which I guess is, that Hormel has in those, square plastic cases. And it's essentially pork belly, that's been salted. And
mhm.
I just fried it up, cut it and fried it up like it was bacon. It was so good. That
I don't
might
know
be
how you do that.
interesting.
I tried to eat salt pork. It's way too salty for me.
Huh. I did not. It was a little salty, but not unbearably so.
Hmm.
But that
Okay.
might be an interesting thing to jerky, pork belly.
Yeah. It's going to be a whole lot of fat. So if you can handle that much fat, yeah, that's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I would think the loin is probably too lean. Um, I don't know.
A pork shoulder. But the thing with pork is that the fat is all on the exterior. It's not really riddled through the meat,
Yeah.
and so it's different when you're drying it. It's like you'd have the dry piece of the lean and then the dehydrated fat, and probably they would break off because their texture is so different. And so
Oh
you'd be
yeah.
left with just a lean piece of pork, and then it's fat in a separate piece.
That's how my chuck roast turkey turns out a lot of times. I get chuck roast that has like a big like vein of fat through the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
and the two lean pieces on the outside will end up as I pick them up, they'll break off, and part of the
Right.
fat will get stuck with each piece.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would imagine it would be even more like that. And I wonder with brisket, if I would be able to do it, because even the carnivore crisp, the brisket is like 3/4 of the width is lean, and then 1/4 is fat. But it still
Mhm.
manages to stay together until I try to pull it out of the bag, and then it all falls apart. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about turkey fat being sweet. It doesn't. It tastes like fat to me. It tastes like whatever that normal fat is from that cut of meat. It tastes like that. Like the drying process. I have not noticed a change in the taste because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I we will get back to you because I feel like now pork jerky is going to be the next project of mine.
You try it. Yeah. Um, All right, Mendel says I carry sardines in the truck. Jerky makes sense if you're homeless or on a super wilderness adventure, like it's an intense survival food. I don't want to be in a situation for jerky. Um, I don't know. I think it's good for all things, and
That
I think if you're homeless, sardines are also good as well as jerky. So I
yeah,
don't know.
maybe you're biased against jerky, but I feel like you're giving it short shrift. Like jerky is not just for intense situations. Jerky is for me on a Wednesday and I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these things we were telling you, if you, especially if you go back to last week, like we were hitting this list and we were saying like, all right, so these are things that you can do in a pinch, but you don't want to regularly do these things. Jerky, especially jerky that you make at home, you could do that all day long, every day if you wanted, and I would have no issue with it. You'd be healthy as hell.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And sardines, I would be okay with you or eating that very
Oh
frequently.
yeah.
I think with the small fish, you don't have to worry about the mercury. Um,
Hmm.
so, if not for the contamination of the ocean, you could do that all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sardines. That's actually one thing that probably should have gone on this list that I forgot about. The
I
sardines
thought
and
we did talk about canned fish.
did we?
Yeah.
Oh, it may have came up somewhere, but it wasn't on the list that I wrote. Yeah, because canned fish is great. I am really, really partial to kippered herring. I just try not to eat it all the time because I don't know what the kippering process is, but it's so good.
Wow. Wait, so these come in a can?
Yeah, they come in a flat can, so
Uh
it's
huh.
like that thin and about that long. It feels like.
And they're just little
Yeah.
tiny fish like this long?
No, um, the whole thing will be. I don't know, I guess it's a fillet or something.
Uh huh. Okay.
Um, So yeah, I don't know exactly what's in there. I've only eaten it like 3 times because I feel like once I do eat them, I want a ton more, and I haven't done the research to find out what exactly is happening inside that can.
Is it sweet?
No,
I mean, what's so fantastic?
it's just I don't the whatever kippering is. This is what I mean. I can't even explain it because I haven't looked into it at all. I haven't read an ingredients list. If I did, it was years ago. I
Mm
just randomly picked one up one day because they were next to the tuna and sardines, and it feels like my life changed that day.
hmm. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Audra likes Italian or Spanish cured pork, like prosciutto or jamon de Parma. And jerky pork is a new one to her. Yeah, prosciutto and well, how do you would say that American style? Jamon de Parma is good. Sure.
Right.
I never liked prosciutto. I don't know why. I think I don't. I don't love ham. I like it, but I don't love it. Like if given another
Yeah.
choice, I'd have something else. I do love pancetta though, which is the pork belly that is prepared like prosciutto. So, or
Mm.
it's Italian. So that's a good one. I think maybe I just don't like that cut of meat. It's another
It,
possibility.
I don't. I'm not in love with it either. I'd like to try some of these
Yeah.
other ones because yeah, prosciutto is just and
And Mandel, yes, you can make jerky from hamburger meat. And
yep.
I am going to go get my jerky maker and show you all what you need to order from Amazon.
Oh Lord,
Yeah. What do you mean, oh Lord? What do you mean?
you did you already have this or did you just buy it?
Yes. I bought it a while ago.
Yeah. All right. So now she's got a thing. Well, not now, but she's had it for a while. But this thing for making jerky from hamburger meat. Yeah. So you can totally make jerky from hamburger meat. You just basically um, put the meat in whatever shape you want, and then just cook it at a low temperature the same way you would any other thing that you were making with jerky.
So you see there's like a gun in there. This is a picture on the back. So this is hollow, and you just load up the ground beef in there, and then it squeezes out here. You can choose what shape, but it can be a flat shape or a round shape. What are you laughing about? This is perfectly legitimate.
It's a jerky gun, is what it is, and that's funny.
It is a jerky gun, and so you can see this gives you a flat shape, like a strip, and this one gives you a round shape, like a cylinder. You can see, and it comes with some spice, which of course I'm not going to use. Backwoods original jerky seasoning. Yeah. So, yeah. You absolutely can use ground beef or ground whatever. So, that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny G. Mandel Harvey, jerky is also good for wild dogs in the park. Yes. Jerky is good for everybody. Yeah. So, jerky is a thing. Let's see, Pat Jacobs says, I carry jerky for snacks. It helps with cravings and smells better than sardines. Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. It does smell better.
Mandel likes kippers. Do you like kippers? Did you try that?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about.
Oh, kippers.
The herring stuff?
Kippers are herring. Okay, gotcha.
Apparently. I don't know. I cannot speak intelligently on it. I know that you get a thing in a long can. It says kipper on it. It may also say herring, and it tastes good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Canned. Audra likes canned wild red tuna or canned tuna belly. I have never seen tuna belly. Or anything other than Bumblebee or what's the other brand? Starkist.
Mm-hmm. She's talking canned wild red tuna or canned tuna belly. I've never heard of either of those things.
Wow.
That's some West Coast stuff.
Well, tunas are really huge, right? They get to be like 800 pounds, 1,000 pounds. So,
sheesh.
Yeah, they're huge. Way bigger than you would imagine. And the belly is usually the fattest part of any animal. But I didn't know that they were fatty or like cold water. Well, I don't know. Maybe warm water fish also have fat bellies. I don't know. But yeah.
I would think cold water would have fatter ones though.
Yeah. Hey, Deidre, peace and fortunes to you as well. Thank you very much. All right, so we have wrapped up our list of carnivore foods in a hurry. Oh, one more?
One more. Sorry. So after all of this, we are now at the top of the list, and this is where...
This is what we've been waiting for. Oh my God, I can't believe that I almost ended things before you had an opportunity to hear the number one carnivore in a hurry meal.
And for some of y'all, this is going to feel like a cop-out, but I don't think it is. Leftovers. If you have already cooked, if you cook enough, if you're one of those people who likes to cook every day, like I don't know how you do it, it gets tiring. I like to have leftovers, and those leftovers are perfect for whatever you need to do. If you cook steak and you got to figure out what to eat that next day, especially like if you're going to work, you have to actually go into work and you need to have a lunch, take that steak, cut it up. You can eat that even when you're on the go. It's so much easier than trying to figure out one of these other things. If you already have food, just eat that. Especially another way where that ends up helpful, and this has changed my life in a lot of ways, is you don't have to have breakfast food for breakfast. You can have leftovers as your first meal if you want. There's nothing that says eggs have to be the first thing that you eat. And that saves me a lot of time on cooking when I used to go in the office.
Yeah, that's an awesome tip. And then, a lot of us don't even do breakfast. So, that's another way to reduce reduce what you have to do if you're eating 2 meals a day or even 1 meal a day. So that's awesome. Fantastic. All right, so that was a great list. Between last week and this week, you have some amazing ideas of things to do, and all of you guys in the chat were suggesting some really awesome stuff. So, for those of you watching, I would definitely recommend, going through the chat and getting, getting those names down and all of that stuff. And, and like, keep looking out. And as soon as you find anything that we didn't talk about, please send me a message. Send me something on Instagram or leave a message here. I love that information. It's super helpful, and I think we all benefit by having it.
Yeah.
Did you get any new ideas? What are you going to do this week? Are you going to go find some kippers?
I probably will. Next time I'm at the store, I'm going to get some kippers because I haven't had any in a while. I think I've punished myself enough. I can have some more and
Miss
look
M
for some
says they're
pork to make
good.
jerky out of. I mean, it definitely sounds like it. Like Miss M says that they're just cold smoked herring. So it's the herring and salt. Somebody else up above said they're really good salty restaurant fish. Kippers, herring, smoked is nice. It doesn't sound like there's anything bad about them. So maybe it's the expense. I don't know why I'm not buying more of them.
Yeah, well, you made me think, gee, I should go look for some kippers at the grocery store. They're in the can section next to the tuna?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
So,
and
and
I think I'm gonna
Jocelyn
do that.
says, agrees with you. She had to get out of the mindset of what I saw as traditional breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had people look at me like walking around the office. I come out of the kitchen, I've got my bowl of whatever, and they go, "Oh, dinner for breakfast must be tough times." I'm like, No, no, this is
I
actually best of times, you
I don't
idiot."
understand that at all. Why is that an impoverished thing to eat dinner for breakfast?
I
Dinner
don't
is a more expensive
understand.
food than like muffins and donuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this is way better than anything I could eat. And maybe he didn't mean it in terms of like poor, but in terms of
Like your life is falling
oh,
apart. You can't get yourself to the
yeah,
grocery store to get
like
proper
like
food for
I'm roughing it.
breakfast. Uh,
Exactly. Like, no, I'm very happy to have whatever that was at the time. As you go, yeah, probably eat a donut and some coffee. No,
yeah.
this is way better.
Yeah. Agreed. And Johnny G sounds like he doesn't care so much for jerky. It sounds like a lot of work. Um,
Uh,
it's definitely less. It's less work than pemmican, but it is work. It is a little
it's
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Jerky is like the way it makes sense to me is if we were hunting our own animals. So say we take down a cow, we're gonna eat off that cow for probably that first day, and it's just fresh meat. And then we have to do something with the rest of that meat. So we probably eat and then spend the rest of that day preserving the rest of the meat. You're not doing it while you're hungry. You're satisfied from the other stuff. And then you have all of this preserved meat. That's your jerky. That's what you're eating after.
Hmm.
It is a lot of work, like compared to something coming from a store that you can cook that day, like a steak or something, or even a roast. But that jerky lasts and lasts, and you don't have to go through that process for each little batch. I think you're wasting time if you're making little batches of jerky.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm making little batches, but I usually just do it overnight. So, it's just ready by morning. Um, yeah. And
So you mean a
also,
little batch, like a pound
well,
of
yeah.
pre-dried meat? Okay,
No,
yeah,
of fresh meat that I slice up and put in to dehydrate. My air fryer is
right.
pretty small, and I don't do it in the
Oh,
oven.
okay.
I don't think I would do it in the oven unless it was winter and I could leave my windows open, because I don't know if I'd feel good running a gas oven for that long.
Mm, that makes sense. Yeah, mine's electric, and yeah, I run mine. I'll probably do like I have a big roast from I think Aldi that's like probably 4 or 5 pounds. That will be like a day's cooking. Um, jerking that whole thing. I may do that in the air fryer. I may do the oven. My air fryer is a little bigger, but it's still not huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then that jerky is going to be all the jerky I need for at least the next like, 3, 4 weeks.
Huh. I definitely go through it very quickly. That 1 pound I make, it could be 2 days.
Right. I try to make it last. I try to use it as either in between food or
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like cooking food.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I don't want to do that work all the time.
Yeah.
But I guess I could.
Okay, Johnny G. It is work, but I think it's worth it. It's tasty.
Yeah.
And he says I need to cook meals in my fireplace. Yeah.
You've got the chair right by there. You could do the whole like.
Yeah, I could.
Who was that? That did they review movies or something? Who would do? Well, no, that was one of our presidents. Did like the fireside chats too. Like that's just been a
Oh,
thing
yeah.
in American culture.
Yeah.
So you could do a fireside chat and have jerky on a stick that you're cooking like s'mores in the fireplace.
Yeah. Well, that shabu shabu that Audra was talking about makes me think of fondue. So,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's something worth doing. Now, she says smoked scallops, yum. Smoked oysters, smoked clams are a thing in Washington State, and we do it ourselves. Awesome. Oh, so
That
jealous.
sounds cool.
That does sound good. Smoked fish collars. I forgot, and we smoke our own salmon whole. Yum. Ugh, lucky you. And Audra, thank you
jealous.
so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad you love this community. I love it too. I love all of you guys in here. And we've missed our 1 year anniversary recently. Because we had our first call last year, June, I think it was June 11th. And we started doing the live stream probably shortly after that. Unless today, today might be our 1 year anniversary. So, happy birthday to the Black Carnivore community. 1 year old. And I am just so impressed and proud of you and so happy and appreciative for how much support you've given me and how much support you've given each other. And I am amazed at how many people are losing weight and getting healthier and feeling great. And it is so, so awesome to see. So thank you all for being here. And thank you for all you do and for all of your support.
Yeah, and I'm sure I am joined by everyone else in saying thank you for keeping this all together, starting this community. A lot of us have found friends and support through this that we would not have found otherwise.
Ditto. I'm just really amazed. And actually, I am going to start being more active on Facebook. Look for me there. But I am going to have to fix some Facebook errors, namely that I have 2 that are named the same, and that's not okay. So I am going to go back to my old Facebook account, which also has my political life on it. And so you're going to see some double for a little bit, and then we're going to switch over to the old A-Day. So please look for me there. Anyway, have a great one. Don't forget to look for the live stream on Tuesday with the former vegan gone to carnivore. And then next Thursday, it's going to be Arian and me again. And we're going to talk about veganism in the Black community. And then after that, it's going to be me alone, I think, again, having a Q&A and, just a live stream with just me. And then, we'll see from there. So looking forward to it. Everybody have a great 4th of July. Enjoy your barbecues and eat lots of steak and chicken and brats and so on. And have a great time. All right.
Good
See
night,
you all
everyone.
next time.